The Man Whore Podcast is sponsored by HotMovies.com. Try out some ethical, paid-for porn for free with none of those hidden fees or secret subscriptions when you sign up at HotMovies.com and use the promo code MANWHORE. Now let's get to the show.
Welcome to the Man Whore Podcast.
Hey, shout out to the Santa sluts and the Christmas cucks and the little people formerly known as elves. This is Billy Procida and you are listening to the Man Whore Podcast. Hey, Merry fucking Christmas or, pleasant day off of work for those of you who do not celebrate the holiday. Welcome to the Sex Positive Podcast hosted by a comedian that is not a comedy show. This week on the podcast, we've got my fellow stand-up comic, Rachel McCartney, and I just can't wait for the feedback on this one. This will be interesting for y'all. Before we get myself canceled, let me say Merry Christmas if this is a holiday you celebrate, and even if you don't celebrate, this applies to you too. You know, what I would love for the Merry Christmas, which I only celebrate as a cultural Catholic. I celebrate Christmas and I would love a present. Here's the present I want. Go get 3 friends or family members this week to hit subscribe on the Man Whore Podcast. Yes, no, don't just tell them about it. Don't just recommend. Don't just post on Facebook. No. I want you to personally ensure that 3 new people have hit the subscribe button, whether it's on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever's. Can you do that for me? That would be a wonderful Christmas present that costs you exactly $0.00. And hey, if you manage to pull that off, tweet at me, email me, hit me up on Facebook, and say who you got subscribed. I'd love to know who you finagled on to the whorehead fandom. I've been thinking about what I've been grateful for, and one of those things is the career that has slowly been building around my slutty self, and that would not have been forming if not for the fabulous members of my fan whore community on Patreon. So I figured it's time for the fan whore appreciation moment. Okay. This is the part of the podcast where I like to give a shout out to some of the members of the Whorehead community who are members on Patreon. Right now, I want to give a big shout out to RE647. I was so glad that I have really expanded to a new market of Star Wars droids. That's pretty great. Thanks for supporting the show. I want to give a shout out to Chris Edgarly, who really my nickname for this guy is Mr. Threesome. Holy shit. It's not fair, the ease with which you slide into situation after situation, but I am glad that you call yourself a whorehead in the process. And I want to give a thank you to Straith Heritage. Big old chatterbox in the peep show, this guy. Oh, man. Any of the penis-enjoying people who listen to this pod, y'all are missing out not being in the peep show while Strath, look, I don't know how these Australian names work, but for as long as this guy's in the peep show, you know you want to be there. Thanks, dude, for supporting the pod, and shout out to all of you who are logging on right now and becoming a member of our fan whore community. You can get access to bonus episodes, sex-positive discussion groups, private Patreon posts, and so much more. All you got to do to become a member is go to patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. That's Patreon, patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. All right, now it's time to play Cast That Porn, brought to you by HotMovies.com. HotMovies.com is a pay-per-minute porn site, which makes it both an ethical and affordable way to hashtag pay for some of your porn. And to help us play Cast That Porn this week, I've got a fellow funny comedian and podcaster, Patrick Holbert.
What is going on? Thanks, Billy.
Yeah. Patrick does a great podcast called Who Cares About
Ross and Patrick.
Patrick.
That's my wife's name. She has a boy name.
She has a boy, and I actually did it, and I only mention it now because I genuinely had a great time on that show.
Yeah, that was great. My Aunt Ann is a fan of yours. I don't know if
Really?
I ever got back to you.
What?
She was like, I love that episode. The guy whore, she kept calling you, and then she wanted not porn recommendations. She wanted podcast recommendations. So we were telling her about like true crime podcast. She's like, no, I want more like the man whore, and she was like, the filthier the better.
Yeah.
This is a 63-year-old woman with MS. She smokes more weed than any comic I know, and she loves your podcast. So shout out to Aunt Ann.
What's up, Aunt Ann?
Yeah.
What's going on? Oh man, what if Aunt Ann sends in titty pictures? How do you feel about that? Because I get that from time to time.
If it's consensual, it's fine.
Okay.
I don't think I want to see
You
them.
want to see them?
No, I'm into.
Could you handle a description of them?
Yeah, that'd be
If
fun.
they come
Actually,
in.
I would actually love to hear you and her riff about her tits and how they've changed over the years. But I'm into some very taboo porn. But I'm not into the realistic. I want to bang my aunt type of fantasy.
No, only your step aunt.
Yeah.
I actually did one of these a few weeks ago where it was so ridiculous because it was like it was supposed to be grandma, mom, daughter, but like they have to say step stuff.
Let me
so
guess. No, I don't mind the step.
But everyone, it just stopped making sense because everyone was step. So it's a stepdaughter, stepmom, step grandma, but who's step?
You're like
at point
drawing the family tree.
It's no longer taboo, or you're just being silly.
Yeah. And in a town small enough, you all go drink at the same bars anyway.
Yeah.
So who cares? I bet I can guess who that was. What is her name? She's so hot. She's a 60 plus porn star.
The grandma?
Yeah.
The grandma's the only one whose name I remember.
What's her name?
It's Nina Hartley, baby.
Oh,
It's-
yeah. Of course I love Nina Hartley. There's another woman who's way trashier than Nina.
I made out with Nina Hartley.
No fucking way.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
That
during
must
the
have been
podcast.
incredible. She's a treasure. She should be in the Library of Congress. If they ever
She
start
should.
doing porn archives there, like she should be the president and chairperson of
If
it.
Boogie Nights is in there, then she made it.
That's true. Good
Well,
point.
you picked a porno to recast this week.
Yeah.
It's called Femdom Ass Worship 9. In all transparency, by the way, he actually found a different Femdom Ass Worship 9, but it wasn't available on Hot Movies. But there was a Femdom Ass Worship 9, so we went with that.
Yeah, and I gotta say that's what's incredible about this website is that you can search by name, by title, and it's just got such a breadth of content that
A breadth of content.
yeah, there's another Femdom Ass Worship 9 on here.
Well, let me give you all a little taste of what this is going to be. We got it's a according to the description, it is a celebration of face sitting and feminine sexual cruelty by some of the meanest bitches that Glenn's Mean Bitch Productions company has ever shot. These big ass divas love to crush the spirit of pathetic male worms. Is that what they call people like me? Male worms?
That's the first time I've heard that term.
Yeah, you gonna
it's
bring
kind
that
of
back home?
Kind of a turnoff, actually.
Really? You wouldn't like it for us to be like, oh yeah, you little pathetic male worm, you.
I like the domination to be in the context of I'm a good boy,
Yeah.
and that I'm
Me
getting
too!
and I'm getting rewarded for it, and that I'm being invited to be a part of this special moment. Not that I'm a piece of shit and
Right.
I need to mend my way or whatever.
Right.
Like,
See, I don't like punishment, and I say like, yes, you can punish me, but you're probably not going to need to,
Right.
Because like I will just follow the rules.
Yes,
I'm not a
yes.
brat.
Yeah.
And this is a very special, I guess, reward punishment situation going on here. This is a very we're right now looking at a naked fella in a stockade, and a very cruel mistress who I don't even know is about to do a thing.
I've just been really busy, I'm sorry.
Too busy for me?
And that's no excuse, I'm sorry.
Too busy for who?
For no one, I'm sorry, there's no excuse.
For who?
I think he forgot her name.
Yeah.
That's always a rookie mistake.
Well,
Never forget your mistress's name.
yeah, he forgot her honorific.
But she's like a hot blonde in some, spandex black, and this guy just looks like, I don't know, he plays like bass to me.
Yeah,
That hair.
he looks like he got kicked out of Green Day right before they wrote Dookie. He's like the sad ex-member while they're all very successful.
But we're also at this like low grade medieval background situation.
Oh, yeah.
like they're at I think this is actually at medieval times. That's how low quality
This
it
is hilarious. It's the backdrop is this rock wall, but on the ceiling you can see office tiles of a suspended ceiling.
So who could even be this
All right.
cruel to a pathetic male worm?
Well, I have a very specific recasting that I went with. So I chose to play the role that Candy Manson is currently playing. I chose Melora Hardin from The Office. She plays the character Jan Levinson, who is one of the sexiest executives on television. I've always thought she was very pretty. And she, for a time, Michael Scott, Steve Carell, they are boyfriend and girlfriend.
Okay.
And Michael Scott's character is always bungling the relationship. So I've included a cuck angle on this scene.
Okay.
So in my storyline, Michael doesn't deserve to have this special relationship with Jan, so she's kicked him to the curb and invited Toby, played by Paul Lieberstein.
Of course.
Toby is Michael's arch nemesis, and the one thing I hate about the show is how mean he is to Toby. But Toby works in HR. He is kind of a pathetic male worm in reality, and I think Toby is invited in by Jan to punish Michael, to cuck Michael. So now this is Toby and Jan having this special relationship, and he is going to get to ass worship her.
Look at me. Now fucking clean that mouth off.
Well, no, I don't want to see him eating pussy. This was an ass worshiping.
Yes.
There we go. Now
So-
he's worshiping some butt.
So now we've got full smother. And a full smother is really the best. When you're under there and you're just getting suffocated by a woman's ass who is enjoying being in control of you and pinning you down, it's kind of the best if that's what you're into. And Toby deserves this. He works so hard for that office. Michael does not respect him. Michael shits on him in front of everybody. And then Michael takes his relationship with Jan for granted. And Jan eventually realizes Toby is the man for this job. So she invites Toby into her office to be smothered by her very nice ass.
Face. I'm gonna have to sit on it.
Well, I mean, if that's not an Emmy Award-winning storyline, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
Mr. Holbert. Well, Patrick, thank you for coming over and playing Cast That Porn.
Yeah, man, this was a pleasure.
Guys, hotmovies.com, great site, and they want to give my listeners 20 free minutes on top of any package you sign up for. And that includes the free trial. I recommend you go sign up for that free trial. They give you 20 minutes. Use promo code MANWHORE, get another 20 minutes. Now you got 40 minutes of femdom ass worshiping, time for yourself, which is honestly probably, about 36 minutes too much. So, so again, go to hotmovies.com, use promo code MANWHORE. And Patrick, where can people find you?
Please check out patrickholbert.com. That's my website. I keep my calendar updated. I have stand-up gigs in New York all the time, and I'll be touring in the spring to several colleges in the Midwest and out west for my one-man show called Punchline Drunk. And then, please do check out me and my wife's podcast. It's called Who Cares About Ross and Patrick. Actually, at the end of this month, on December 29th, I'm doing a solo show in Astoria at QED all about pervy sex stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm going to
Pat is quite the perv.
Yeah, so I've got a bunch of stories, and it's about the pervy fun stuff like this, but it's also about Ross and I going through trust issues. I cheated on her in the first 4 months of being married, and we're still married 3 years later. We now have a daughter on the way. So it's this whole story about our sex life and our marriage and how couples can survive infidelity and dishonesty. So it's a pervy show with heart is how I would describe it.
Pervy show with heart. Patrick, thank you so much, and want to say goodbye to everybody.
Thanks.
And now for this week's guest, Rachel McCartney. So fucking funny on Twitter and on stage. You got to catch her if you happen to live in the greater New York City area, and you need to be following her on the Twitter thing because it's just, she's too good not to, okay? She's so fucking funny. I'm not even going to really preface this thing that much other than to remind everybody that both me and Rachel believe that bisexual women are real. Just remember that as you're listening, okay? And mild apologies about the echoey sound of where the episode takes place. Now let's get to me and Rachel McCartney.
Something that David Piccolomini does is he will have you talk, like you'll be talking for a while, and then he'll decide afterwards when the podcast actually starts.
Right. That's usually what I'll try to do too, depending on like what the setup is. And Usually not everyone's like cramming Pop-Tarts before the pod. So,
No, I recognize that part. Definitely my fault.
that's okay. That's okay. I'll just say right now, I won't even
But I'm
pretend.
thin, so it's cute.
Well, that's, you know, oh, that's complicated for me right now.
I know.
I just had my girlfriend this morning. She was like, I've given her permission to tell me when I have gained weight, or when I look like I've gained weight. And I said, hey, have you noticed that before though? She's like, yeah, you know, a little while ago I was thinking like, Billy looks like he's been stressed. Mm-hmm. And I was like, that's a subtle but accurate way to do it. Sure. Why not?
Yeah, it's that's like subtly different from you look tired.
Yeah.
Which is more just like you're not wearing makeup for women.
Well, she also made me this skateboard that's covered in nudes that I'm going to actually post it on Patreon because it's actually the only place I can think of to post it because there's tits all over. So I can't put it on Instagram, can't put it on Facebook, Twitter's.
That would be funny if you you bothered to put like a sensor over every little nipple.
That's so much work. And,
I know.
Like, God bless Patreon that at least, they're cool with the nips, to an extent. They're cool with dongs too, which is interesting. But they have to be flaccid penises. You cannot post hard penises. Even if there's no one around it, you can't post hard dicks on Patreon, which is a weird.
Well, I'm out.
Yeah, you're just like, yes, noted straight woman Rachel McCartney is just far out from that.
It does make more sense than like you can't show a nipple. Because that's not intrinsically sexual, but a hard dick, I hear, is.
Yeah, allegedly it's a sexual thing, but I've had to actually email them dick pics. They've told me to.
I'm just picturing on your to-do list. Email Patreon dick pics.
They're like, is this flaccid enough? I can't tell because you want to get enough blood
I'm
going in there.
I'm dysmorphic. I can't tell when I'm fat. I can't tell when my dick is hard.
Well, comedian Rachel McCartney, thanks for coming by. Apparently the skateboard stood out to you. Well, the skateboard and the laundry.
No. I want to say the skateboard was all you.
Oh, okay.
When you said the in-unit laundry was a gift, I was like, oh my God, who loves you that much? No, I don't fucking care. I'm sorry. I don't care about a skateboard covered in porn. I'm happy you're happy.
No one loves me enough to give me a washer or dryer for Christmas, except my landlord, I guess. But
there we go.
Yeah. But we were saying before, one of the many times you shut me up, you love the movie Chasing Amy.
I love that movie, yeah.
Longtime fans of the show know that is my favorite movie. I make women who I am going to date long term. They have to, a litmus test, they have to sit there and I have to watch them watch it.
They actually start the movie as lesbians. Mm-hmm. But by the end of the movie, they're dating you. Yeah,
something like that. That's how I convert them. No, but I don't know. I just always really connected hard to the movie. What's your stance on Chasing Amy?
I think it's a beautiful movie. And I also think people who don't like the movie are really getting hung up on labels being accurate.
You're right. It was 97s. Like, we didn't have all these terms.
Yeah, or you did, but you couldn't really use them as much, like in your real world experience. Like, I think if she had identified as bisexual, and to be clear, I'm not attacking the lesbian community for this. I think it was very hard to be a lesbian in 1997, and for that community to be insular makes a lot of sense. But I think if she wanted to date women at all, she kind of had to identify as a lesbian.
Yeah.
You couldn't really, I don't think you could be bi in that environment in 1997.
Yeah, and it's because it never felt like she's now become straight, the Joy Lauren Adams character. Mm-hmm. It always felt like she just now is dating a dude and she gets shit from the other lesbians. Like, they're all, they're bag and board in comics to mail out, and they're all like, another one bites the dust.
Yeah, but of course they're in this like super homophobic environment.
Yeah.
That's 1997, where, I mean, like, look at Ben Affleck's character, who's like the protagonist of the whole thing. When she is supposedly a lesbian, he doesn't understand it.
Right.
He thinks all she needs is a dick. And then from the lesbian community's perspective, if she seems to have been converted, that just validates homophobic society's view of all of them.
Right.
Well, so I don't want to criticize a lesbian community per se. I'm recognizing it's like very hard on both sides. But an important thing to note about that movie is she never is one. And that's clear if you like watch the movie closely, because she was like hooking up with dudes in high school, and she describes her own decision to like become a lesbian or date women as she doesn't want to shut the door on possible connections.
Right. So it was really more of like she opened the door to women and then kind of just ended up being with the women.
Yeah.
And then, you know, like she says in that big monologue, she's like, then I had to remember like why I opened the door to women in the first place. Like, I don't want to close myself off the possibilities. That monologue makes me cry fucking every time.
It's great. I mean, like, it's dumb how the movie is like always understood as, oh, lesbian sleeps with a man. It's like, she's never a lesbian, not for a second.
But you would classify her as like a bisexual.
Yeah, she's clearly bi.
Yeah. It's weird that the flack that Kevin would get for that movie, because I always saw it as, I mean, again, I'm also a straight guy, so I'm stupid, but like I always saw it as like progressive for what that time was.
Well,
he wrote it for his brother, who's a gay dude, and his sister, I think, is also a lesbian, and his brother once told him that he just never saw himself on a screen, so he kind of tried to write something
that makes so much sense,
right?
Because the gay characters are so human, which is not of its time.
Mid 90s, not known for like treating the queer community very well.
Yeah, there's that. Is it Banky? That's
so Banksy. Banky.
That's what I was hung up. I was like, it's not Banksy. That's the artist. It's Banky, right?
Yeah. Different. But Banky, and Kevin said this for years. He's like, Banky has all the idiot lines come out of his mouth because he's the idiot character, which is supposed to negate them. So when it's like all lesbian needs is a good dicking,
but it's coming from his repressed homosexuality.
Exactly,
because he's like, all a lesbian needs is a dick because he wants a dick so badly.
Right, but that's why it doesn't come out of like Ben's mouth, or it comes out of Jason Lee's character's mouth.
But Ben's also kind of an idiot, like in a more low key way.
Yeah, well, he's kind of like hanging around. He's being like the friend, because it doesn't matter if she's like gay, straight, or bi. He's being the friend who's hanging around, hoping for his chance.
Yeah.
And that's just annoying. Because like he's like, oh, let's just be friends. He doesn't mean that sincerely. He's like, I'm waiting for my window.
Yeah.
And it's like, fuck off with that. Like sometimes
I know how I'll get her a 3-minute speech in which I'm almost crying.
I mean, like for me, when some like let's say somebody wants to break things off or ask someone out, and she's like, I feel more of a friend vibe with you. If I do feel friend vibe, I'll pursue that. But if I only was interested in her like sexually or romantically, I'll be like, hey, I'm gonna be honest, I don't think that's a good idea. Because then I'm just like settling for less, and I feel like I will be hanging around for a window. So I'm going to remove myself from that and not do that, because I think that's a shitty thing a lot of dudes or just people do, where they pretend to want to be friends, but really they're just waiting.
Yeah, I also graduated college.
Oh.
And to not elitist as in you have to graduate college, but it's just like I am also no longer 22.
Well, so you said you're getting in trouble for another joke. So one, I just want to say, Rachel
I didn't bring this up. Billy is bringing this up, but we can talk about it.
Well, you mentioned it before we started that there's a new one that's. You said I have another tweet that's a thing right now, or no?
No.
Did I mishear you? Okay. Well,
maybe you're confusing me with someone else. I only got in trouble at one time.
That's the only time you got in. So you did this great joke about white women that everyone thought was. And that's the thing. That was what upset me, because the criticism kept being like, "You're saying this about bi women." It's like, it's not commentary on bi women. It's not commentary. These are jokes.
It is a commentary on women who are pretending to be bi, and it was worded as a joke rather than worded as an exact political statement.
Right. And only people who are looking to react to something on Twitter are going to read it as a political statement.
Like, I mean, I was going after fake bisexuals, which I would say is a valid group that exists. Right. The fake bisexuals. There are also real bisexuals.
Absolutely. And I will say, because I did refer you as straight before, I want to make sure it's clear, like, you are not straight. You are not of the heterosexual
That would be weird
persuasion.
if I were this into Chasing Amy. And the distinction between... And also, on the subject of Chasing Amy, we didn't get to what the actual theme of the movie was, which is how being a dumb guy who's obsessed with someone's past is going to prevent you from seeing them in the present.
Interesting that's what you took from it.
Yeah.
I took from it the concept of the not getting a map from A to B, so trying everything out. And that's how I always pursued my sexuality, was I'm going to just try a lot of things to figure out what it is that I like and don't like, and how I like connecting with people. So that's actually what I always took from it.
Wow, that's so interesting that like we both connected with the character of the opposite gender.
Right.
Like, that's who I mean, that's who I felt was the star of the movie, was the Ben Affleck character.
Yeah, and I was always like, it's all about. I mean, he's the one we're seeing it through. But I always felt like it was Joey Lawrence Adams' character who was like the most important one there. And wow, that's fascinating.
I mean, I obviously liked her character way more. I think Ben Affleck's a douchewit, but I mean, like, he does get the girl through his crazy "you're the only one for me" speech and blah blah blah. That would never ever work in real life. He does get her, and then he manages to push her away because he can't deal with the fact that she used to sleep with guys.
Right. Meanwhile,
and
he's been
that
sleeping
threesome with two. Yeah,
but meanwhile, he's slept with chicks, right?
Sure.
It's like,
I mean, like, he wasn't as adventurous or whatever, but it's just like standard slut shamey bullshit.
Yeah, and that's what I felt like I went through in my early 20s, and that like I tried a lot of things, and I think that intimidated some women that I would genuinely be like I would want to be boyfriend girlfriend with. I'd want a relationship, and I think they thought, well, that guy's been to an orgy and he did this on Craigslist, so you can't date that.
Yeah,
you fuck that. You don't date that person,
right?
Yeah. I know. That's why I connected with her. Very interesting. Different genders. It's my inner woman that will one day come out. We'll figure it out. Yeah. Once gender theory, sorts itself out, I will probably, I'll realign or not. We'll figure it all out. I'm very confused.
Do you think that was ever like a subconscious motivator for you to finally sleep with enough people that you, as a man, can get slut shamed?
That never was the goal.
Because it's an achievement.
I mean, maybe it was just achievement against all those bullies who said I was going to be I saw 40-Year-Old Virgin in theaters, and I'm sitting next to someone so my boarding school, they send us off on like movie trips. So I'm sitting next to someone from my school, and the 4-Year-Old Virgin, trailer's up, and she taps me and goes like, "That's going to be you."
Wow.
And not in a mean, like, fuck you way. She was just like, Billy, you're being
That's
represented
so
on screen. And I'm like, this is not, that's not nice.
Shade hurts so much more when it seems guileless.
Yeah, well, now I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know if that was the motivator or not, or if just sex is fun. But, I now I'm at where I'm at.
Right.
So do you have beef with what's the beef with fake bisexual? It seems to be you have beef with a certain type of a lady. I always thought that joke was about white women specifically because they're kind of insufferable.
Well, I would say probably most fake bisexuals are white women.
Okay, and why do you say that?
Just experience and guessing.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, like, it's obviously, it would be indefensible to say that was not in any way a joke about fake bisexuals, and it was only a joke about white women.
Right. I guess, well, a lot of people were reacting again because they thought it was a political statement.
Should we say what the joke was?
Yeah, I think you should tell the joke. Tell the joke. It's a good joke.
The joke is Rachel Dolezal just announced she's bisexual despite never having dated a woman. And I think it's so cool she's finally accepted that she's white.
Which is a fantastic joke.
Thank you.
I also like the other one I saw. The B in LGBT stands for boyfriends of bisexual women.
That was actually my friend David Spector who wanted to post that.
Oh.
And he was like, "Oh, I thought of this," and he's like, "I would get in so much trouble," and I was like, "I think you should post it." And he's like, "No, I'd get in too much trouble. Will you post it?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure."
And then a month later, he was like, "See, I told you. If I had posted that, I would have been in trouble." Because
I posted that, and then I posted the Dolezal joke, and then the people who were furious with me about the Dolezal joke went back through my old tweets and were like, "She has a history of doing this."
And it was funny because I was trying to see if you had any other jokes about bi women that maybe we could talk about. So I searched on Twitter, like, your handle and bi women and your handle and bisexual, but it's all just bi women mad at you.
Yeah.
I can't even sift through it to find your tweets. I mean, so you got called out for being, I guess, what we call, I guess, biphobic, and what was like your initial reaction to all that?
To be perfectly honest, my initial, very initial reaction was like, yeah, I didn't phrase that perfectly.
Yeah.
I tried to, I prioritized the word economy to make the joke over being as clear as possible, but I couldn't figure out a way to be like, Rachel Dolezal just insincerely announced she's bisexual. Because it's like, huh? How do you know? I mean, we assume it because it's Rachel Dolezal, and it just wouldn't have punched as hard, you know? So I was just like, okay, I'll sacrifice being as clear as possible because that would take probably 15, 20 words.
Yeah.
and just make the joke tight.
And then
it blew up.
Yeah, because I think combination, it outraged some people, and it was also a great joke, so it like went a little viral, and it was just so odd to see people so angry over jokes because like you just described, you couldn't make it clarificatory and make sure it acknowledged all the things, but then it's not going to be funny.
Exactly, and it's like as soon as once I realized people were like really attacking me and like really trying to like drag me and cancel me or whatever, I was just like, I'm not going to respond to any of these people because they're not coming at me with any kind of good faith. And I've seen these things play out before. And if I'm like, well, actually what I meant was they'll be like, she still doesn't get it. Do better. And I'm like, I'm not going to give you anything.
Right. And it's so odd when people take the jokes out of the context of like comedy because I think they think of jokes as like the shitty dude at the office who tells jokes. And they put us in the same category. It's like, no, like comedy's in your handle. Like it couldn't have been more clear that this is a joke.
And I do take some pleasure in knowing, just like the couple of people who have been mad at me in real life. I'm like, oh, yeah, you are exactly who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like I can't know for sure that you're a fake bisexual, but you sure act like one. So I think I'm offending mostly the correct people with this joke.
I do enjoy how you are still, even today, towing the line between like, I don't know, where does she stand?
Well, I mean, like the thing about like being LGBT is there's so many Rachel Dolezals in our community because you can't know how someone really feels. Like if you're a white person and you're pretending to be black, that's like so clearly, hey.
Oh, hey, Matt. Talking Rachel Dolezal.
But if you're a white person and you're pretending to be black, we can clearly say that's what you're doing.
Right.
And everyone understands that's extremely fucked up. But if you were a straight person and you want to say you're bi, what's going to stop you? And it maybe seems harmless from the outside to be like, oh, just let everyone identify how they want to identify. But it's like, if you're really being insincere, and if you're like presenting yourself as bi when you just kind of want to be interesting, especially if you then like, I mean, look at the stereotype of what happens in college where it's like a straight girl will have a lesbian phase and will break some lesbian's heart. And if you like look in the media, the lesbian is always the punchline of that. Well, maybe not in 2019, but definitely like 10 years ago.
I mean, do you think that's part of where some of a lot of the sore feelings about, quote unquote, about bi women from lesbians come from being toyed with during the college years and then being left for dudes over and over for decades?
Of course. What else would it be?
I don't know. I mean, I'm just,
We're just mean and scary and bitter for no reason.
Well, I mean, lesbians, y'all are mean and bitter and scary. I am terrified of all of you. So
Great.
Good job. But I'm not going to.
Thanks for letting me into your home.
Yes. No, that's why we're in the living room and not my bedroom. I feel safer out here.
You know what? Me too.
I do recognize that like going into like a dude's bedroom you don't know very well isn't always the best look. But I do what I can.
I'm on my period, so let's see how kinky you really are.
Oh, that's not always going to stop me. But so how can you tell when something's sincere and insincere?
Well, that's
it's
the
like,
thing. You
how
can't.
do we play with that? Because what they were accusing you of was like, oh, this is the bi police. But it's like, I guess the question I would have is, should y'all care how others identify?
I think if someone is being insincere, of course you should care. It's not that you can specifically target them and call them out because you can never know for sure. That's the whole thing with being LGBT. But I think if someone is insincerely identifying a certain way, in an attempt to like, I mean, let's be honest, like being LGBT is kind of fashionable now.
In certain parts of the world, yeah.
If you're in college, if you're a comedian in New York,
if you're in a major city, like
if
you're trying to get cast in a thing, some would say no.
Exactly, like it can help you fit in with certain people or mark you as like different in a way that's like still accessible.
Yeah.
And I think if you're insincerely identifying as bi or whatever it is, that's a really shitty thing to do.
Then who is to say who is and isn't, and
Well,
then
that's
what
the
like
thing.
is
Like,
it
there's
like
no
not
one-
inviting them to a certain party? Is that kind of where the policing has to be at? Where if you think someone's being insincere, then you just kind of don't fucks with them.
Well,
Like-
well, everyone like says policing, and it's like the LGBT community isn't. We don't have that much power. Literally, mostly all policing means is rolling your eyes behind their back. That's it.
That's cattiness.
Yes.
It seems to be the only recourse available there.
Yeah. And again, like you can't always
And
know
tweets
who's
about.
being insincere, but like sometimes and sometimes people will be like, "Oh yeah, I date men and women, but with women I'm the asshole." And it's like, "Yeah, because you don't care." Like, do I have to be like, "Yes, bi queen," when clearly you're using women as objects to make yourself seem a certain way?
Well, but then that seems like a really tough spot to be in as a bi woman to be like,
Or
well, then what
any
if-
woman who's dating this awful bi woman.
Okay. I guess just as to live in the world as a bi woman where everyone's questioning whether or not you is. Cause like, I don't think anyone's like questioning whether or not lesbians are lesbian. I also might be wrong.
I mean, like, yeah, some douchebags definitely are. But I'm not talking about people typically identifying as lesbian. I'm talking about people who are maybe 95% or whatever straight.
Sure. And sometimes
But then
like
they like the idea of being bisexual.
how do you feel about the labels that like someone like Dan Savage has introduced, like these like homoflexible and heteroflexible?
Those are
like
kind of
these
cutesy, but I
in-betweens?
think they're
cute.
useful.
You find them useful?
If someone like said I'm heteroflexible or whatever, I'd be like, great, I won't make out with you.
Okay.
Bye.
When did you start realizing that you were way more into women than being not into men at all? That was a weird way to phrase the question. There were a lot of extra words in there. When did you start realizing you were into women? and
Probably
not
like
men?
12.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And did you know how to navigate those feelings? Like, did you know what a
No,
lesbian
I mean,
was?
I knew technically what a lesbian was, but I didn't think that was an okay thing to be. And then also, like, my home life at that point was so difficult. Like, my mom, she was, like, losing her mind, and my parents were having this, like, really awful divorce in which, like, it was really, really bitter and really fighty. And I knew in that day and age, like, if I came out, first of all, I was going to be like, I thought it was going to discredit me in divorce court, basically.
How so?
So it's like, oh wow, like her godless father is so godless that now she thinks she's a lesbian and
Right.
she's 12.
So your sexuality
were-
being used in the courtroom against each other.
Yeah.
Damn. And then it feels like, so then, I don't know, where do you get to where do you get to deal with the feelings of the divorce or with the,
I was just miserable for 6 years.
or not now? You're not still.
Not to the same degree.
Okay. I watch your set, so I'm just going, I
But
leave
that's,
the,
that's fun miserable.
right.
Like, as a teenager, I was actual miserable.
Tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, I mean, it was just like my home life was terrible, and then I had like a sexuality that I was repressing. And when you can't be open about something like that, I mean, like, I didn't know that it was okay. I wanted to think it was okay, and I tried very hard to be straight because I was like, maybe I'm bi and I can just ignore the gay part or whatever, or maybe those feelings are immature and they'll go away, or all this bullshit. And like, I didn't have a good time in school, and it was just like all a bunch of
Bullied kid?
really bad. Yeah. So it was just like my life was already so hard. Coming out was the furthest thing from my mind.
What did they bully you for? What did they get you for?
Just being a loser.
Being a loser?
Yeah.
Oh, me too.
Right.
Yeah. Did you band up with the other losers, or were you like a
I
lone
mean, like,
loser?
I typically, like, I had one friend in junior high.
Uh-huh.
I had a friend in high school separately. It was a male friend who became my boyfriend sophomore year, and we dated for like 5 months, and then I broke up with him.
Irreconcilable differences.
Yeah. So I mean, like, I usually had like a friend, but I never had like a crew.
I had there was always like, wherever I was, there was always like a loser crew, but like even the loser crew would pick on me.
Oh damn!
So it was
You
like,
must have been insufferable.
have you been around me much? It's apparently, I don't know what it is, but anywhere I go, if people's clothes are on, then apparently I give off like annoying vibes. But I don't know how to fix it.
That's a really polite way to tell me you have a great dick.
I was an odd kid, and I'm apparently still an odd adult, but just trying to like navigate through.
Right.
Who'd you come out to? Like, was that a secret?
I did that in college.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like to parents, and how they take that.
My dad was initially upset. But I know it was just because he was like concerned I was gonna have a hard life, and he's totally cool now.
And which bi woman or fake bi woman broke your heart in college? Where's the pain coming from?
Well, it's not just that. It's also all the straight couples on Tinder or Hinge or whatever.
The unicorn hunters.
The unicorn hunters, and frequently they'll pose as like, oh, I'm just a single woman, and then they actually do have a boyfriend or whatever it is. But yeah, no, there was a woman in college. And what was very irritating was at my college, I hung out with mostly bi or bi-identified people, and they would openly say like, oh yeah, fuck the gays. Like,
what?
No, they would be like, you better be nice to us because we outnumber you. Or they would say shit like, yeah, I'm bi because like love isn't about gender, which is a way of like calling me shallow.
Okay.
It's like, oh yeah, you're so evolved.
You know who does that now is the pansexuals.
Yes.
The pansexuals have taken that mantle of like, you're limiting yourself.
Parts, not parts.
Bumper stickers, not actual information.
Yeah.
Okay. And who was the lady in college?
She was like, I mean, like, she was like very mixed up. We were all 18, 19 or whatever. Mm. But yeah, she had been through a lot of trauma. And she had like sworn off dating over the summer before our sophomore year.
At 19, she was like, I'm done with this whole dating experiment.
For like a while, because she was like, sex is the junk food of connection. But you know, those relationships where the other person leads with their trauma really means they're going to be at the center of it all the time.
What do you mean leads with trauma? Like first days unpacking it all?
Yeah. So we were like kind of friends, but not close. And then we started like sleeping in each other's beds for like an entire month before we started like making out or whatever. But it was very much, she was saying, as soon as we talked about it, she was like, I can't be with anyone because I'm trying to heal myself and I need to find my inner diamond of happiness.
What crystal salesperson did you meet in college?
She had gone to this Buddhist retreat over the summer. So she was
there should be an age
also
requirement.
A white lady misunderstanding Buddhism.
Okay, she's so an insufferable white lady.
Yes.
Yeah.
You get it.
The type's in the subject of that joke. That's I like shitting on white women. I don't know why.
Probably because it's most of the women you know.
Good point. Maybe.
So that happened, and I was like, okay, yeah, whatever she needs,
all right.
Like that's fine. So we never had sex. And she actually said, if we ever start to have sex, you have to stop it because I don't know if I'll have the strength in the moment. And I even thought at the time, oh no, this is just a trick because you're not really attracted to me.
Do you? You think it's that?
Yeah.
I think that's her. It just from what you're saying, it's like, it sounds to me like wants to pass like the spiritual blame onto you. Like, I am not strong enough, so you need to be the one to control us not fucking.
No, she was saying that because she wanted to make it sound like she wanted to have sex with me and then give me some kind of illusion of power where I feel like a good person for the fact that I'm not sleeping with her, when in fact she just wants an affection dispenser and not have to actually fuck a woman.
What would she try to demand from you in terms of being an affection, wanting you to be an affection dispenser?
Well, it was just that everything was on her terms. Like I would give a lot of affection without her having to like explicitly demand it or whatever. But it was like we couldn't hold hands in public except when she wanted to. We couldn't tell anybody that we were like seeing each other, even though people could kind of like it was just very much out of some need to protect her safety, quote unquote. Mm-hmm. Everything
her spiritual crystal safety.
Yeah, it's like this was okay, but this wasn't okay. And I mean, I was very young, and so it took me a while to like realize, no, the only rule is that you make all the rules. And the rules change all the time.
And
because I'm going along with that, of course, because on some level I'm desperate, but at least on a conscious level, because I want to respect your personal journey or whatever, because I'm going along with that, you see me as a chump. And so you're never going to treat me with any kind of respect.
Was this your first?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, wow. How'd you get out of it?
She cheated on me.
She held hands with someone else? Is that what she did?
Okay, so what
She
happened
shared
was
her diamond with someone?
I tried to communicate with her many times how the way things were hurting me. And I was putting so much thought into it and trying to consider, okay, how do I communicate this to her and make it clear I'm not just trying to use her for sex, because that's not what she would always say. Anytime I had like any kind of problem with anything, or anytime I did something nice for her, she would just kind of make some kind of offhanded remark like, oh, you just want to get into my pants.
Did you?
No, that wasn't what I was trying to do. Like, I was a fucking 19-year-old virgin.
Right.
Like, part of what was in my mind was, because I'm not desperate to have sex, this can be a fine relationship. Like, I didn't feel like I was even necessarily ready for that.
You were being sincerely romantic.
Yeah. And I mean, like, did I want to have sex eventually? Yes. But if she was saying, like, oh, you're just trying to fuck me and we've been, like, kissing for a month, it's like, would I want to? Sure. But I'm also a 19-year-old girl.
Yeah.
Like,
stop treating me like a dude.
Exactly.
And that's just clearly because of the trauma I'm going to guess the types of trauma she had with dudes, probably leading into going to college or that first year of college.
Yeah, but I think a lot of the time when people have been traumatized by assholes or whatever, they don't actually respect anybody who's not being an asshole, because they think, oh, you just don't have the guts. It's not that you're not an asshole in terms of you being selfish. It's you are selfish, but you're so low value that you're settling for less than these other assholes were able to squeeze from me.
You think to them everyone becomes an asshole after the trauma, and then you just gotta. I mean, but that's that's a clear defense mechanism of just
sure,
yeah, like I don't want anyone else to fucking hurt me. But meanwhile, like clearly that it seems like that might have hurt you a bit.
Oh yeah, definitely.
What was the cheating?
So I finally like wrote her a letter and I printed it out. And it was like, I was like, I don't think we should, it was a letter like breaking up with her basically. And I was like, if we can't, be together, and if we can't, like have laid out terms where you're not constantly like going back and forth, that hurts me a lot. And I think we should stop sleeping together.
Yeah.
So sleeping meaning like sleeping in the same bed.
Right.
And she read it and she cried, and then she like twisted my words to be like, what is wrong with you that you feel you need some kind of relationship? And I want to help you, but I can't.
I want to help you, but I can't. But my crystal, my
no, definitely. So she twists all my words, into me being some kind of like empty person who needs to stand on my own or whatever, just projecting a bunch of shit and making me feel as bad as possible. And then finally I agree to stay over. And so I fall asleep in her bed.
right.
And then after that I was just like, well, I can't get anything through confrontation. I couldn't even break up with her.
Yeah.
So I just started avoiding her. And she's like trying to get me back, and I'm just kind of like dodging her. Then finally she comes over to my place, and says, yeah, I've thought about what you said. And I think, yeah, we should stop sleeping together. Less than a week later, I'm like doing all kinds of exercise to try to take my mind off of things. I dislocate my kneecap.
You exercise.
Fuck you.
I've just never seen you as the jockey type. I look like I'm the exercise type over
I'm just
here?
letting you sit in that silence.
Yeah. It's not like I look like I'm the epitome of whatever. Okay.
So I dislocate my kneecap. It's really bad. I have to go home. And while I'm home and recovering, and I can't like walk, I can only like get up with crutches to like go to the bathroom. The first day that I can like sit in a chair, I get on Facebook and I see that she's in a relationship with some guy.
And then the tweets started formulating.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Twitter wasn't around at that point, or if it was, I didn't know about it.
But do you think...
And then I put it together the night after I dislocated my kneecap. I called her because we were still allegedly friends or whatever. I called her to like come bring me painkillers because I was in so much pain and I didn't have any Advil in my room.
And it's the one time you need her for something.
Yeah, it's the one time I need her for something, and we haven't broken things off yet. And when I called her, I heard some guy's voice. So like she definitely cheated on me.
That's so shitty.
Yeah,
the thing that's shitty to me is that you're always in the doghouse too. Like leading up to this, like you're always in trouble for one thing or another.
Yeah.
You seem, from your telling, trying to accommodate as much as you can. And then like through all that, you don't even really get to be angry at yourself. I had that with my last girlfriend where it was like, I was so busy trying to apologize or do better for something that was never ever really that crazily bad or anything, but I was so much like, I just want to make this person happy. I never experienced anger, and like I never got to vent what I was upset about because it wasn't like they were being an angel either.
Yeah. But like every lesbian has had this experience in some form or another. And she had sex with a woman a couple times before, but what she told me was, yeah, I'm bi. Like, I don't know which I prefer. Like, I think women are more beautiful, but sex with men feels realer. And it's like, you're straight.
But also, she never had sex. She didn't even really try sex with women, right? Because like
she had like a couple of one night stands, just like in the adventurous period when you first get to college.
I like how she thought like that was real, because I was like, I'm of the mindset that like all 19-year-olds are bad in bed, no matter what gender, no matter what orientation.
Totally.
You all suck, and you're supposed to suck because you're 19.
But
it'll be better later.
But you understand now the harm in just like pretending that you're something you're not, or why LGBT people would question someone's label.
But what if it's not faking, and what if it's sincerely trying? Because is that...
But trying what? And
well,
for
if
what
if
reason?
one thinks that they're attracted to women and wants to, and it like doesn't, at some point you'd want to try. If you like, if I thought I was attracted to dudes, which like, you know, depends on the day.
Yeah.
At some point one would attempt the sex with that, or try making out. Like you do start doing things to see, is this what I want to do? Like group sex. I had to experiment with group sex to find out I was into that. I had to experiment with a little bit of BDSM to find out not into BDSM.
But that's fine. But I think there will be some people who still want to sleep with you and be like, oh yeah, I'm just fucking being a slut and whatever. I just want to have casual sex too. Mm-hmm. But some people don't want to be treated as an experiment. And I think that's entirely legitimate.
Sure. And if she had said something along the lines, again, 19-year-olds, everyone's dumb. But if today, or maybe not with you specifically, but in general, some sort of acknowledgement of, I don't know where I'm at with my situation, but I believe I find you attractive and I would like to do some things. So kind of acknowledging that there's an experimentation is, if this if she had said...
Then that's ethical.
That's
But I think you also then have to respect if the other person says, I want to be with someone who knows what they want.
Totally. And that's all well and good. It seems like, it just... people don't fucking talk to each other and say what they want and don't want and what they mean. But it seems like a thing that can't be avoided. Because to experiment with something outside the norm that you were raised with, you have to eventually do it. And then you might find out you didn't like it. I don't think that's always means someone's faking it. I think that means someone's trying that. That is different from the insincere folks who
I think both camps exist.
Sure. But I think that whole situation is different from those who claim, say, bisexuality to seem more interesting or to get a thing or whatever.
But I think that probably was what she was doing.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, like, there was nothing explicit that you could get at liberal arts school by identifying as bisexual, but it definitely did make you cooler.
Huh. Maybe if I had been a bi 12-year-old, I could have been a pinch more cooler. Maybe people like, look at his haircut.
But yeah, I mean, like, everyone in my friend group was, like, super into Dan Savage, and the way people talked about being bi, I mean, like, some of them were, but it really did seem like this is the more enlightened thing to do.
Mm-hmm. which it feels like that's the pansexual thing today, or
Yeah.
omnisexual, because no one knows what it is. So pick that one, because it's gonna make you seem even more interesting, because there hasn't been like an article on it.
Yeah, I mean, like, any identity when you're 18, 19, people are trying all sorts of stuff on.
Yeah.
And it's about cultivating some kind of brand that you think is going to make you fuck you to your parents, but in a woke liberal way or whatever. So I understand everything is kind of that at that age. But not everyone necessarily grows out of it. I mean, comedy has a lot of people who are emotionally, kind of arrested development or whatever. If you look on Twitter or Tumblr or whatever it is, like these people are out there, and I think it's legitimate to acknowledge it's shitty when people use your identity as a kind of costume and won't acknowledge that they're doing it.
Touche. I have no good response for that.
Thank you.
But clearly, that person caused some harm. Did anything like that happen again afterwards, or were you like did you have like a bi girl radar on?
Well, actually, recently, I've dated two people not seriously in terms of like we were going to get a house or anything, but in terms of my heart was very involved. I've dated two women. The second one was a lesbian, so nothing like that happened, although it was very bad in its own way. But recently, I had kind of like a casual thing with a bi girl who was like polyamorous.
Do you have some snark towards the poly people?
No,
Okay,
no, it
cool.
was
Just checking, just making sure.
no, it didn't work out, but she was legitimately bi and wanted to have sex with me, and a lot of my animosity has really
So how much is it that there's like an issue with like bi women and fake bi women? Just like women, you just need better experiences with bi women.
Well, I think there are fake bi women and real bi women, and my more recent one was like, no, that was a real bi woman.
Okay,
they are out there. I'm no longer having to like make myself say that. I know it on a deeper level.
Well, I guess what made that more a realer bisexual?
She wanted to have sex with me.
Okay. Now I get an idea of where the issue was with with the crystal chick. That's just what I want to call her, because.
No, that's fun.
And then you're out dating now?
Not actively.
No.
I should.
I mean, should you? I don't know. If you don't, I mean, do you want to? People go like, I should be doing this. I was like, I don't know. You shouldn't do anything that you don't actually want to be doing.
I would like to be dating someone, but going on Hinge dates or whatever.
The process of dating.
It's so demoralizing.
Yeah.
And I also tell myself if I like achieve some kind of success in comedy, then my stock will rise and I will have an easier time of it. So I should just focus on that.
I mean, all the fake bi female comedians will come try to finger you. That's what's going to. If you when you become staff writer at SNL, they'll be like, "Hey, can you just look at my packet?"
I don't date comedians.
No, is that a rule?
That's a rule, yeah.
Does that extend to like hooking up with comedians, or you just no comics? Period.
I might bend it to hook up, but I would prefer not to.
Is there a particular reason?
Yeah, I dated a comic and it went very badly.
You seem to be like, it takes one experience and it's like nixed them.
But I mean, like, truly horrendous experiences.
Yeah.
So I had a horrendous experience dating a comic, and it totally poisoned the scene that I came from, and I did not start to feel better until I moved.
Is that why you moved?
It's not why I moved. I moved because I for a time had a great deal on an apartment.
Okay.
So that was why I moved, but it was definitely why I was happy to move.
Okay. Because with comedians, some of them are like, I only date comics, and then there's some who are like, never date comics.
Yeah, no, I've definitely been tempted, and I've had like crushes on comics, but it's like, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
The pain of having a crush is nothing compared to having the pain of like a bad ex.
Oh, what was so bad about that one experience?
It's a long story, but I mean, like, it was bad. It was really, really bad. Like, I would have nightmares.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Like, I couldn't go certain places. I was like so stressed out. My eye would be twitching all the time. It was like, no, I had PTSD symptoms. It was like emotionally abusive and really, really bad.
Okay. Okay. Well, no, because I don't know because before we started, like, I asked everyone like, oh, what's off limits? You're like, you'll read it, and I'm like, so I'm trying to read.
No, what's off limits is anything I don't want my dad to hear. I've talked about this on podcasts before.
Okay, I'm just okay. I'll leave it be then.
Yeah.
I don't want to see any eye twitching. The whole dating process can be insufferable, and that's just like that seems to be so many people want the outcome of the dating process without actually doing the dating process.
Yeah, no, it's such a pain in the ass.
But I think the only reason online dating seems so bad and why dating today seems so rough is because of volume. Mm-hmm. I think if you were meeting people,
this is not lesbians' problem.
Yeah,
the volume, the too many options.
Oh no, I was going to say the idea of you go on before there was online dating, you're going on a first date every so often.
Yeah.
It was not as common to have 3 or 4 first dates in a week, right?
Yeah.
But because we have these online dating options, you can just kind of cycle through. So through sheer volume in a short period of time, you're experiencing so many bad dates where maybe the same number of bad dates would have been extended over the course of like 2 years.
Uh-huh.
And that's why I think it just seems so much worse. And people go like, dating's terrible. I was like, no, you're just doing too much of it too quickly.
I don't know. I think if it were the same thing but spread out over a longer period of time, that would mean it would take longer to find someone good, which sounds worse.
So I think you have to decide, are you prepared and willing and ready to go through that process?
I think the online aspect of it means that you get more duds. Because you don't go on a date with someone, that's the first time you meet them.
Right.
Whereas before online dating, maybe there were like some blind dates, but for the most part, it was someone like you met at a bar.
And you connected at least a little bit then in person enough that the first date had a better chance of maybe being a good first date.
Exactly.
As opposed to like, well, he did send some good gifts, so this has to work.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Where would you meet people? I guess like for
online dating, I just be very alone.
Oh, sorry. No, I just meant like where do you meet people now? Like when you just do the online.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because my only exposure to people in real life is comedy. Like that's my whole life.
Well, I do wish you luck in your future dating endeavors.
Thank you so
whenever
much.
you find the time from being brilliant to do them.
How'd you know I was into getting my ass licked?
I had no idea. Your dad listens to this. Rachel with that potty mouth.
Hi, Dad.
Yeah. Stop being so dirty and go offend bi women again.
Can't wait.
Do you think twice before tweeting now?
Yeah, but if I want to, I'll do it anyway.
Yeah. What do you feel like I guess in closing, like what did you feel like you learned anything from that experience?
Twitter sucks. Honestly, that was the experience that got me to take Twitter more seriously. Like that was the first time I ever went viral. I think I was I was like around 2,000 followers when I tweeted that.
Right.
That got me like 700. And then after that, I was just like, I'm going for it. And so I got a ton of followers over like 6 months. So they think they won the battle, but I won the war.
Yeah. That's what I like to hear. And where can people go follow you?
You can read my biphobic tweets and other tweets at Rachel M. Comedy.
All right. Well, Rachel, thanks for coming by and chatting.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, I want you to say goodbye to everybody except the Rachel Dolezals of the world.
Bye to everyone but buys.
Rachel, you can't say that. Okay. Wow, what a show. Don't forget to go follow Patrick Holbert and Rachel McCartney over on the Twitter thing. Outside of that, hey, don't forget today is the final day of our special offer. It ends tonight at like 3 a.m. on December 26th. Special offer, okay? All members of my fan whore community will get their names painted on my big old body. Yeah. But we're only going to do it if we reach 200 members by the end of Christmas Day. Become a member today and get your name on my body. Head on over to patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. That's Patreon, patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. gravelly voice aside, thanks for your patience with that. Holy shit. Merry Christmas again. Happy Hanukkah, happy Kwanzaa, whatever you're celebrating, or if it's just a week off work for you, enjoy doing the thing, and enjoy your New Year's, everybody, and stay slutty.